All right, welcome everybody to Behind Them Sticks. It's your boy Ham Solo. I am with Pong Soul. What's happening with you, brother? What's going down tonight? What's poppin'?
Man, oh man, good stuff. I can't believe I'm here again. I was just telling you, I'm honored, man, that you thought of me to bring me on your show. Look, you're doing great, phenomenal work over here. I've watched some of your interviews and just awesome stuff, man. You obviously have a lot of passion for this industry and for the people that are a part of it, just like I do. So, man, it's a pleasure being here. I've had one heck of a busy week, so this is a nice way to end this night and just be able to talk gaming and talk history. I love doing that. So thank you for letting me be here. And I'm ready to get down to it, man.
Let's do it, my man. Let's do it. I'm very excited to have you as well. So please, to kick us off, as usual, whenever I start my episode, I gotta have you throw it out there. What's your gaming and social media platforms that people can check you out on to either game with you, chat with you, or even watch you on your oh so many shows that you're always on, man. I mean, if you look at the thumbnail for this show, it's like,
Yeah.
which one is he part of? And it's like all of them, every single one of them, constantly kicking out content, and it's great to see, man. It's great to see somebody that passionate. So continue, please. Continue.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So everybody can find me Pong Soul, Xbox, Twitter. You know the drills there. And then obviously, again, my shows are where I'm at. So I don't have a PlayStation 5 yet. So I'm not on PlayStation anymore. I was PlayStation 4 last gen, but not this gen. So until I do, Xbox is the place to find me. Obviously, you know, if we want to run down the shows right now, we can go Tuesdays with the Xbox Factor podcast over on Double Barrel Gaming. Mr. Boomstick, of course. You can find me there every Tuesday, except for today, due to work in real life. But, you know, normally I'm there 90% of the Tuesdays. That's 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Thursdays, PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM over on Fun Speculations channel. It's just a two-man show, although we're starting to introduce guests. We had Colt Eastwood on last week. So again, just Mav and I pretty much on a regular basis are going to be breaking down 1, 2, 3 episodes. And that is at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. Friday nights back on Fun Speculations channel, Xbox Ultimate, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time with the Great 8 over there, depending on how many family members don't have real life stuff going on. We have up to 8 people, plus Mav brings in guests, so that gets crazy on a Friday night. And then Saturday mornings, it's my brother from another Steel Rain and I on Living Split Screen. Split Screen is all one word. We just finished up episode 42, I believe it was, last weekend. 4 hours. He and I will go 3+ hours every weekend, almost guaranteed. It's so much fun. It is. It's
spend the time.
That's right. It's so much fun.
You have a platform where you can be passionate and let it go.
Yep.
Let it go. Don't cut people short on how you feel about whatever.
That's definitely not what Steele and I do, man. Live, raw, and uncut, as he likes to say, every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. And then Saturday nights, it's the Shop Podcast over on PTK Blam's channel. Check that out. He's been doing it for over 5 years now. So the guy's got a great show. Deserves more people watching each and every Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern now, 7 o'clock Central Time on the Shop Podcast, PT Game Lamb's channel. So yeah, that's my lineup. And then you know, when people like yourself reach out and ask, I'm usually there if I can make it. So you never know where you'll find me next
Pong,
time.
you got a scroll full of places that you be going. You're just like every freaking where. One thing that I really enjoyed about the Living Split Screen show was you guys gave me that nostalgia feeling, and if you follow me at all, you can tell that I like some of my old stuff. And you guys talk about what came out on this day, like in the past. Yes.
And
I thought that was fantastic because, like, I was like, oh man, I didn't like that game. Oh, but that game was dope. Like,
I know that segment sometimes. That segment can get a little long because I'll jump in. Of course, you know, Steele and I have an age gap, right? So there's generation difference between myself and Steele. And so it's funny, there's a lot of games he won't recognize, and I'll break in and be like, oh man, that's such a good game. Or I'll be like, oh, that's a terrible game. And we'll start talking about it a little bit. So yeah, that segment could get a little long at the end, but we really enjoy it because like Steele says, Everborn actually started it. Steele's adopted it because it shout out to Everborn, by the way, too. But he he talks about video games being an art, right, and should be treated as such. And Steele has really adopted that because Steele's felt that way, and of course I have too. But Steele really adopted that one and took that on, and that's why he's actually the one who came up with that segment, because he wanted to make sure to remind people where we came from, and I think it's freaking amazing.
I love it. I mean, like I said, it hit me right in the feels, and that's like I live in the feels, man. I'm all about like right now I'm playing back through Shinmu off of Dreamcast, and in each part, like it reminds me of the drag that it felt going through like the notebook and like the phone numbers and stuff like that you have to remember and type in. You have to almost grab yourself a notepad because back in the day, those games there was no like take a quick screenshot or anything like that. Like, I mean, like the Switch is really cool with it. It'll tell you to take a screenshot of this and you'll use it in like the future and stuff like that. There was none of that. There was no taking a picture of your screen with your phone or anything like that. There was get your pen and paper out and write down the code to your game so you can get back to your save, or or write down the code to be able to make that phone call because you're not going to remember them 8 numbers or 7 numbers or whatever. So
I've still got notebooks with old maps, drawing out maps by hand before strat guides, right? Before we had access to all that stuff. It's crazy, but yeah, that's where we came from. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. I remember those hard, or not hard, but paperback books that you could go and you can get guides to different games, and them suckers were thick.
Oh yeah.
Because it had like every turn and everything that you could get. So really cool. But I got to know, what are you playing right now?
Oh man, that's a trick question when it comes to me. You probably listen to me on enough shows now, so when it comes to me, I'm what Microsoft actually has an official name for internally, and I'm called a grazer. Okay, so I'm somebody who at any given time I'm all over the place in my games. So that can be anywhere from 10 to 25 games ongoing at any given time, right? Yes. So it's crazy like that. So I'll give you a short list of what I'm doing, right? So I'm back into Cyberpunk. I actually was playing that when I got home and got the dog settled in. I actually popped back on again. So I'm in Cyberpunk. I'm over 100 hours in, not even close to finishing the game because I love that game so much. So I'm back on it again. Next gen patch may be coming out soon, according to some rumors. So I'm hoping for that. But I love that game. It's my game of last gen. And then I've been playing Risen 2, gone back to the 360. That was in a backwards compatibility sale last week, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was now, that big one, and picked up Risen 2, which is, it ain't pretty. Let's put it that way. It hasn't aged well in the graphics department. However, as an RPG, I'm a big lover of AA and single A games. I like the jank. Okay, so that's my thing. I like AAA games as well, of course, but I don't mind the jank from AAA games. And Risen 2's classic old school RPG mechanics, I just love those. There's no meta. There's no worrying about plus 10% bonus to hit green enemies, right? There's none of that. It's pretty old school mechanic wise, and I love that. And it's pirates, and so of course that makes it even better. So Risen 2 is another one. I've been playing back through Alpha Protocol as well on the 360. Again, I think I'm trying to manifest a new one. I'm trying to, now that Xbox has kind of solidified their relationship with Sega, and now that they have Obsidian underneath their umbrella, that was a game that had so much potential and they didn't get the resources or the time to finish it. And Obsidian's tweeted at Sega before about going back to Alpha Protocol. So I think we might have a chance this generation of bringing back Alpha Protocol. Otherwise, a little bit of Far Cry 6. NBA 2K22, of course.
I heard you talking about that VC.
Yeah, I feel so dirty, man. I feel so. See, I did this.
You need to wash your hands.
See, look, but there's a story behind NBA 2K22, right? I refused to buy them. Okay, I happened to win the Ultimate Edition last year, 2020 edition, prior to right around Christmas time. Okay, so when I get a game for free, again, as we talk about free to play games with monetization and games as a service and such, you don't feel bad spending money, right? Because I didn't pay for the game. So I won the game. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll pop some money into it. So I spent money on it last year. I play my team. I don't play online because the online is absolutely horrible. But I do play domination mode. I love playing against the computer. I love playing against these, teams that are just stacked with all-time greats and putting my team up against them. So you still have to have quality players, right? So I put money into it. This year came along. Was listening to Dealer. Dealer, of course, bought it. I played with Dealer before. We play, play co-op and stuff.
Yeah, I know he likes to play.
Yeah. I played a lot of 20. I played a lot of 2021 with him, right? So I listened to him, and he had gotten 2022. And Mav, who's in the chat, shout out to Fun Speculation, he did as well. And Dealer especially talked about how they had broken the game again, and they had made things worse, and it wasn't fun. So I was like, I'm definitely not buying it this year. Well, lo and behold, around Christmas time, 2K and their community management, they gave a bunch of people codes to give away right before Christmas. So I saw these contests going on. I'm like, why not? Try again, right? Why not? Try again. So I picked out one of the influencers that was giving away codes and answered the question, retweeted. Next thing I know, I won NBA 2K22, the anniversary edition.
Jeez,
so I was like, well, I guess I'm back in NBA 2K 2022 again. So I hop back in, get back into my team. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it right this year. Not going to spend any money this year. I know how to build a team through the auctions. I'm going to do all this. Well, 2K being 2K, they know what they're doing over there. They adjusted some things. So you don't earn the my team coins as much. You don't earn anywhere near what you used to, right? So building a team through the auction is much more difficult. Got my butt kicked by a couple times by some of the superstar level teams in domination, and I broke down. I bought VC. So and then I had some leftover VC because I bought the big pack. I bought the 450,000 VC.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. But it was on sale. I found it on sale. $70.
Yeah. You'll give yourself an excuse.
Yeah. It was $73. That's the same cost as what it would have cost me to buy the game. So I'm like, cool. Had some leftover. I was like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna wait for another new set of cards to come out. And I said, I'll look for one of the lower level boxes. Well, they come out with a new set. And of course, they come out with the 20-pack box where you're guaranteed one diamond level or above player if you buy the 20-pack box. Well, I didn't have enough for that, so I had to go reinvest another $15. So, but it was on sale this week on Xbox, last week on Xbox. So I got 20% off. So I felt better about it, but so now I'm $90 into this game. So yeah,
My Lord. There you go. Oh, bro.
Otherwise, the last game I'll bring up is Rainbow Six Extraction. Absolutely phenomenal.
You love it?
Love it. Me, Fun Speculation, Mavs, Steel Rain, Caitlin, Mav's wife. We have all been playing this co-op. It is better than I ever could have believed it would have been. I'm not saying this is the greatest game of all time, right? I'm not saying that you're going to pop this on and go, wow, this is next gen. This is just.
No, I'm not going to lie. I played it single player and I was just like,
once you learn it, you can play it single player. Mav's been playing a lot of single player. I have not played a lot, but what I will say is once you get the game down, the single player will feel better to you. I'm not saying that you're going to love it by any stretch of the imagination. This game was made for co-op with friends. Okay. This game
That's
was
how it felt totally. Because I was playing with two other people that didn't speak English. So they were just like going, talking to themselves. And, I'm cool with that or whatnot. But, it's just, I felt like a third wheel. I just felt like I can't.
No,
I even tried to talk to them, and they knew like very broken English.
Right,
Like,
right, right,
so
right, right.
we were,
That
so
makes
they were getting downed, and I was like, "Where are you guys?" and stuff like that. And yeah, it
no,
just wasn't fun.
no, it's tough. But what I will say is, if you get a good group of friends together, and I'm not saying everybody's going to love it. You know me, I play what you love what you play. Not every game's for every person, right? So it doesn't. I understand why some people don't like it. It's not your typical first person shooter, but it does enough things differently with the strategy, and kind of having to be careful of not losing your operators and all that kind of stuff that they've thrown in, and the level, increasing your levels, opening up new mechanics, new weapons, increasing like speed, or all that kind of stuff on your operators. Really, it's a lot deeper than you think it is. And if you like that slower paced strategy style, you will like this game, I think, in some capacity. Again, I'm not saying you're going to love it, but you get a good crew in there. Anybody can go watch Fun Speculations channel. He did a stream of the launch night of that, and it was funny because it started out as me, Mav, and Caitlin, and then it went to me, Mav, and Steele when Steele got home. And what's funny is we all got in, and if you watch Mav streams normally while we're all playing, we're all BSing all the time, and we're all laughing and just telling jokes, and sometimes it goes way left, and Mav's got to delete streams and stuff. But anyways,
That's how it goes.
but on extraction, what was funny is it didn't matter who we were, what group it was. We all wound up, the BS talk slowly died off, and it became that almost corny, but it was natural, but that almost corny acting that they always have when they show off a tactical game for the first time, and they have the actors going, you got a guy on your 6, blah, blah, blah. That's what we went into. We went into that military real speak. Yeah. We're like, left, two left. We got movement. Like, seriously, that's what we started doing.
Man. I remember feeling that way back in those days with like Modern Warfare 2 and stuff like that. Like
Rainbow Six Vegas.
Oh yeah, Rainbow Six and
man, like the old school stuff.
Yeah, so I totally understand what you're talking about, because that's when gaming got kind of serious, for sure, for me at least. But yeah, man. So that sounds excellent. I really want to maybe check that out with a crew. That'd be fantastic. I love shooter games. I just felt like I was moving like freaking molasses around in there, and
it is.
And like I said, I was playing with people that didn't speak English, so I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now. So I'll have to give that another shot. But let's move on to something that is kind of important, and I'd like to know exactly like where you got the name Pong Soul from.
Absolutely. So when I jumped into this community, I had a whole other Twitter life prior to this community. Okay. And when I jumped in this community, I had kept that. But then I realized that other Twitter life, didn't deal in the gaming world at all, right? So it dealt in a bunch of other stuff, right? And a lot of it, as society has gotten more and more negative over these years, I found myself really taking the energy on. I'm a big energy guy, right? So I made a decision to completely wipe that out. And so when I did that, I knew I had to come up with something, and I knew I was solely going to, for the most part, focus on the gaming community, because I was like, I'm in. I love the people here. I love everything about this. And so I really had to think about what I was going to do. Well, Pong is the first game that I started. Okay. I go all the way back to the original standalone Pong console. Used to play with it with my grandpa and my dad. This is some of my earliest memories when I was about 3-4 years old. On about a, 11, 13 inch black and white TV. Right. And so that was easy for me because my history goes all the way back to there. And like I said, it's some of the fondest memories I have of gaming, and the earliest memories, which is incredible, but it truly is. So Pong was easy. And then I went and said, okay, well, Pong's great, but I can't just be Pong. That's dumb. There's probably a million Pongs out there. So I'm like, all right, what are we going to do here? So then it came to me. Gaming is a part of my soul. As cheesy as that sounds, gaming has never left my life. Okay. I've never taken a break from gaming. Sure, there's been ebbs and flows to how much time I've gained, but even through, helping raise families and all that kind of stuff, I've never stopped gaming at any point in my life. Through good times, through bad times, gaming has always been there. And
keep
so
a console. You keep a
yeah,
console.
yeah. So Pong Soul. So I said, hey, that sounds pretty cool. Of course, not thinking it all the way through. At the time, Pong Soul is Korean in a lot of ways, and it's a Korean name. And for the longest time, there was a bunch of people in this community who thought I was of Eastern descent because they thought they didn't put two and two together. Pong Soul, they just thought that was like a real name. And sure enough, there is a couple Pong Souls out there. I've Googled since. So there's a guy that's actually got the Instagram page for Pong Soul, by the way. So, but other than that,
Who would have seen that coming though?
Yeah. So I just didn't think that went all the way through. But no, I've embraced that again. I'm not one of those people that hides my age or wants to act like I'm not an older gamer, because I am. I really am, and I'm actually proud of that. I'm proud I've been through every generation of gaming. And experienced everything where we came from. Again, a lot of times when you're younger, you look at older people and they're telling you this and that about life, and you're like, oh yeah, whatever. What do you know, old man? What do you know? Blah blah blah. But it really does give you a different perspective on a lot of the things in the gaming industry now, to have gone through all the stages of gaming. So I embrace it. Pong Soul is who I am. So that's where we're at, man.
The way I thought of it when I was thinking about this question versus your name, I was thinking, Pong comes from, the start, and then you're just like the soul of gaming. So it's just the way I kind of put it together was like gaming soul or something like that. So, right. So very cool. I'm happy that has a connection to your past, and that's really cool that you have that name. But now, why? I know you kind of answered this question, but let's dig a little bit deeper, and see why gaming specifically was so important to you. Like, why did it make you so excited to continue to grow with it and keep purchasing more consoles as time progressed? And I mean, you obviously love it because you're on so many damn podcasts talking about it nonstop. So I mean, I'm sure you have a pretty cool answer.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So I guess it's a long love affair, and like any love affair, it changes over time, right? And so as it started, obviously as a kid, it was just a cool new thing, right? I mean, in video games, like in your house, like the arcades were one thing. My dad had me playing pinball since I was little. I've been in arcades for a long time, but then to bring it into your house, even if it was simplistic back then, that's not how you thought about it when you were a kid, right? And it was just the coolness factor of it, right? I was a big nerd geek, all of that kind of stuff growing up. I had severe asthma, so I had to quit sports in middle school. And so when that happened, like, what did I have? I had reading, which I was huge into, and I had video games, right? And those were two things I could do, and I could do very well, and also writing and all that kind of stuff as well. But I really turned to those hobbies of mine. I was into Dungeons and Dragons back then, all that kind of stuff. And video games just brought to life new worlds for me. And it was just awesome to jump in and experience those worlds. And I was, back then, we had a lot of couch co-op. I would go over my buddies' houses, all that kind of stuff. But those were the weekends. Best. Yeah, that was
that was best, like the peak. That was as close as it got to like hitting a bunch of people up on multiplayer. Now was a couch and just a bunch of just people. I mean, if you had the original PlayStation, you had like the L little plug-in where you had the four controllers, but continue.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, we had, obviously sleepovers are a big thing, right? So that was like stay up all night, not wake the parents up, and we'd be gaming all night until we all fell asleep with the TV on. So those times, but really for me, I got into RPGs. now I've been a console gamer my whole life, but there was a time, a small snippet of time in my early teens when I did have a PC, an Apple II GS, one of the last Apples they put out before Apple went under. And it actually, my stepdad actually refused to buy another PC forever because of Apple II GS, because he spent a ton of money on that thing, and then Apple went under. But I did play computer games, and I got into RPGs. And obviously on Genesis, I was getting a lot of JRPGs as well. But I got into like Ultima and Might and Magic 2 on the Apple. And for those worlds, that's where I became a lone wolf. I really enjoyed the one-on-one, me versus the game. And that's really where it started hitting. And then from there, again, gaming wasn't cool. So, you didn't talk about games except for with your closest friends who were also gamers.
Right.
In
It
high
was kind of a
school.
weird time.
Yeah. In high school, you didn't let anybody know you gamed. It was bad enough that I couldn't do sports, so that was already one knock against me. And I read a lot. So of course, in English class, I was the teacher's pet. So there was a lot of that nonsense going on. So the last thing I talked about in school, outside of my close friends, was video games. But they kept progressing, and they kept getting better, and they kept getting deeper. And as I grew older, it was almost like video gaming grew with me through all those stages, right? And so I just kept being fascinated by the new worlds, by the stories, right? Again, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. I was reading fantasy, reading sci-fi, and this stuff was coming to life on my screen, and I had control over it. I was interacting with it, right? So I think that was always the draw for me. Of course, the instant gratification of succeeding at something was also there, right? And that can be that dopamine hit that really gets you. And I don't deny that that's a part of it, right? That is definitely still a part of it to this day. I'm not even a big achievement hunter, but when that achievement pops, there's a little sense of feeling when you hear that sound, right? There really is.
Especially when it's like after like a badass enemy or something like that, and you get that achievement, you're just like, you're usually in the moment of thank freaking God I got done with it. I mean, it's still like popping at the same time, but you see it in the corner of your eye, you're like, cool, like that, cool, that's great, but damn.
Right, exactly. And then I got, again, as I grew, and then I became more business savvy, and really started getting into the money side of video games. I always had an interest in the news of video games. I was reading the EGMs, Next Generation magazines, and all that kind of stuff for a long time. And I wasn't always just about going to see the latest and greatest games. I was reading some of the editorials, or I was reading about what companies were doing. And that was just a natural curiosity for me. So I really, really grew that way as well. That's why you see me on all these shows now talking about this stuff, because it really, as the industry as a whole, not just the games, which are obviously the main course when it comes to this, but outside of that, the industry is just so fascinating to me. And that's really where my love of that started as well. And then, like I said, it just went from there. It was always a place to sit down after a stressful day. Some people like to watch TV. Some people drink. Some people do drugs. Some people have other hobbies that they go and do, whether it's reading, taking a bath, whatever the case may be. Everybody has their de-stressor, what they think is their de-stressor. Video games remain that constant for me, right? No matter what. And then
very similar to what Boom said as well.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like I said, through good times and bad, it doesn't matter what's going on. Video games are there. And they really do give me a sense of calmness. Like I wear a Fit Watch, been wearing a Fit Watch for years now. And honestly, even the most intense game, my resting heart rate drops, into almost sleep level resting heart rate when I'm playing a video game.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm just so relaxed, right?
Chilling, man.
Chilling. And that's what it is, right? And then obviously get married, raise families, help raise kids. And then you get that kid factor, and you see in them what you were when you were younger, and you get to introduce them to the video games, right? You get to introduce them to those Christmas mornings where they get to open up their new console or their new game, and they get their eyes just light up, right? And that's the way it was, especially my first marriage, and I helped raise our son, and when he got older, it wasn't very long. We tried to get him into like leapfrog and stuff, but after watching me play on the TV,
I want a real game.
He wanted the real games, and so I started him young. He had a controller in his hand very early on, probably 3, 4. I taught him how to play Lord of the Rings Middle Earth on Xbox 360 when he was about 5 or 6, and then I got to witness when I came home one day when he was about maybe 7, and he was showing me the armies he built on Lord of the Rings for Battle for Middle Earth, and that he was, fighting off the armies, and he was succeeding, and he was doing all this. Those times can never be replaced, right? So
I'm right there with you, actually, not to cut you off, but I'm right there with you, man. Bro, like my daughter, she constantly likes to kind of, do what we're doing,
Of course.
And when I'm playing like a video game, I'll either be playing on my computer, PS5, Xbox, or even my retro machines back here. She'll be like, I want to play a game. Usually it's Roblox. But sometimes she goes over to the retro stuff and she's like, what's this? And what's that? And, that looks really cool. Or that's Bugs Bunny. So like today she pointed out 2 different games. One of them was Barbie for Super Nintendo, which I personally bought her that copy, and then I forgot to tell her that I bought it for her. So it just sat on my list of games. And she was like, I want to play Barbie. And she also looked at Space Jam for the original PlayStation.
Nice.
Which is a freaking fun game because it has like the basketball game with mini games on the side and stuff like that. Really fun game. But she wanted me to watch her play. And I remember being a little kid and being like, Mom, come check this out. And my mom didn't care anything about games like I care about games. So like I'm a little interested in watching my daughter play, even though I have to push pause on my game and whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's fine. She's excited. So she wants to show me something. So I want to check it out. So I'm watching her, keep up. She's losing the game in Space Jam, but it's 35-32, and I was like, "You got 32 points?" And she's 4 years old. So I'm like, All I showed her was the pass button and the shoot button, and of course Jordan's on the team, so Jordan ain't gonna want to take an L. So
right. Of course not. Not the GOAT.
But she was pulling up. And she took the L. But she was so excited and just playing the game and just watching her be that happy about something I played as a kid. Lets me know that just like gaming is in the right direction, and especially back in the day, they had it really good because I love that game Space Jam, and to be able to like still capture a kid and keep them entertained. She was only playing it for like a half hour or so, but I mean, if you think about a kid, they're constantly like mine's constantly racing. So as soon as they think about something else, they're gone.
Oh, of course. Squirrel.
Squirrel. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But yeah,
no,
man.
That's fantastic, man. Those memories are like some of the best of all time. Playing Lego games, from Telltale Games with him. That kind of stuff just can't be replaced. And we have so many nights together of that, and again, that just brought it to a whole nother level. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers to what gaming means to me and how it's become a part of my life. And like I said, really to kind of, get it down to the base level, it's just growing with me throughout my entire life. And it's never fallen behind, right? Nintendo fell behind. Like that's like there's been things like that. Like I don't play Nintendo anymore. Nintendo just doesn't hold interest for me. Their games don't hold interest for me. Again, I respect the heck out of Nintendo. Respect that hustle.
It's a cycle too. Sometimes
sometimes it's a cycle, right? But that things like that have happened. But other than that, they've just grown with me, and I've just right along through life. And now here I am, 46 years old, still playing video games. Now on podcasts, sitting with great community members like yourself, talking about it, having other people surround me with passion about this industry. That's what it's all about. I just love it. Just love it.
It's so nice to see so many people passionate about gaming right now, and there's also so many different ways to be able to meet people. I've talked to people, and I'm sure you have as well, all around the world
Yep.
about gaming. And we don't agree on every single thing, but that's not the point. The point is just to have a voice, speak up. And I mean, I'd like to say this with most people: be respectful. Um,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's not always that way. But that's not what I try to bring people here for. So as I said earlier, I'm really happy that you came on, and you're a really respectful person that I plan to keep watching in the future as you grow and whatnot. But moving on to the next thing, which kind of has to do with why gaming is important to you. Why did you become a content creator specifically? Like what, like is there somebody that drug you and said, "Oh man, you'd be great at content creating, and here's your platform."
Yeah.
Or
So
how'd that happen?
that's a whole story in itself. I never, ever imagined I'd be here right now in any shape or form talking to you. I used to look, so this is, we all have regrets as we go through life, right? One of my regrets is that I dismissed YouTube and I dismissed podcasting. I dismissed all that for most of my life. Again, me being as old as I am, I was around from the beginning. I could have started this stuff a long time ago, but I always dismissed it. When my kids were, watching YouTube while playing video games, I'm like, why are you listening to people talk about video games instead of just playing the game? How can you do that? I'm like, I used to be. Too. Yeah. I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Like, this is stupid.
Yes, this does not make any sense to me whatsoever. So
YouTube's for funny videos. That's it.
Right. And weird people and like, why do a million people watch Ninja play Fortnite? Right? This makes zero sense to me. Right? So I was that guy. I freely admit it. So I had zero intention. I jumped into this community, like I said before, to get away from a lot of the negativity of the world. And at that time, the new consoles were coming. The new generation was coming, and I was kind of out of the loop on some things. And so I was like, God, I really want to learn, because every generation I pick one console to go into with first. There's been a couple where I've bought both, but generally speaking, I have a preferred platform. I'm not a fanboy. I pick whichever one is most valuable to me, and that's how I decide, right? So it's the way it's always been for me ever since I got burned on the Atari Jaguar. Okay, so for me, I always look at it from a business standpoint and from a personal standpoint of what I'm going to enjoy the most, what's going to give me the most value. So I jumped into this community going, I need to learn, about these new gens. I want to see what people are saying. There seems to be a lot of people out there with a lot of knowledge outside of the mainstream IGNs and that kind of stuff. Some real people with some real knowledge and speaking my language as a gamer. So I was like, okay. So I jumped in this community for that. And I found, like RDX, right? Of course, one of the first ones you're going to find. I found Iron Lords. I found, the bigger YouTube channels out there. And I started listening. And of course, this was when the pandemic hit. And so my job in finance really crashed hard, okay, during the pandemic. Everything shut down. We deal with a commercial side of finance, so businesses, small businesses, truck drivers, that kind of stuff, right? So dead in the water. So I'm sitting at work, hardly anything to do. I used to listen to music all the time at work. Well, I started turning on podcasts, and I started, like I said, I jumped into Twitter, started hopping into chats because I had time. I had more time than I knew what to do with. So I was hopping into chats and started talking to people.
And one thing I want to bring up as well is like, there was during this pandemic, there was so much news constantly about pandemic this, President Trump that, new election coming this way, election coming that way, and what are we gonna do, and George Floyd, and there was so much negative news that it almost was like you were like, I want to see news, but not this.
Right, exactly. And that's why I hopped in this community, because I wanted to get away from the rest of it. Because like I said, energy wise, I felt myself being dragged down in my other Twitter life. So I jumped in this community, and then I found all this great stuff, and I started listening to all these people, and still even listening to the podcast and all that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, I would never do this or whatever else. Well, I started getting to know people because I was in everybody's chat. Okay. That's how I started. I was in every show. I started eating up shows left and right, boom shows, right? All these shows out there, I started eating up, and I was in chat. So people started seeing my name, right? And I would conversate while I was in there. Again, I'm sitting at work, not a lot to do. So I was conversating with people. So I was throwing out my opinions and stuff like that. And then I got to know enough people, and Retro Renegades. Shout out to Graphic God Jay, Jago Kukin, obviously Infinite, all those guys over at Retro Renegades, Crispy Bomb. One time I was in their chat, and Jay and I was chatting with them, whatever else. And they don't even like to call their show a podcast, right? They're just a bunch of buddies getting together and BSing. Okay. That's what they do over beers and video games. That's what they do there. It's totally casual. It's not your typical show whatsoever. Jay hates regular podcasts, so he does Retro Renegades completely different. So I was hanging out with them one night in the chat or whatever else, and Jay said, "Hey, Pong Soul, we got to get you on here sometime." And I was like, ha, 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 yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, he hit me up in the DMs. He invited me on. And I hemmed and hawed about it. And I went back to him. I said, cool. I said, let's do this. So I brought my Surface Pro to work because nobody else was working. I was the only one in the office at nights because most of the staff had been off for COVID. And so I brought in my Surface Pro, brought in my Astro A50s, my old Astro A50s, plugged them in, and hopped on to Retro Renegades. And at work, had a great time, and just had a great time. We just sat in BS. Got off the show, and Jay and everybody had really good feedback for me. Said I was, natural, it was great, it was fun, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, cool, thanks, guys, whatever else. And they're like, yeah, we'll have you back on sometime. I said, yeah, that'd be cool, whatever else. Didn't think of anything of it. So I just went back, started chatting again, and all the chats and doing all the podcasting, just sitting in there, just typing away and doing my thing. And then went on Flamish's show. Flamish has got the Flamish Experience on Sundays. He does it. He used to do it on a regular basis. He doesn't do it anymore, but Flamish is a great dude. He's a great kid. And he had me on his show. And so I went on there, did the same thing, plugged in the Astro A50s, chatted for a while. It was cool. It was fun. Had a good time. Flamish hit me up and said, hey, I'm going to take a break for a while, but when I get back, maybe you can become a permanent member. I'm like, oh man, do I want to make that commitment to Sundays? I'm like, I don't know. I said, well, I'll think about it. Well, he went on break. I wasn't doing anything. And then, let's see, I got to know 3-Bit. I was in 3-Bit's chat a couple times when he was doing his show. And he actually, PTK Blam, had put out a question on Twitter asking if anybody had any recommendations for who they'd like to see on the show. 3-Bit nominated me. And I was like, 3-Bit, man, thanks for that. I barely knew him. I just knew him from chat and stuff. We really hadn't conversated at that point. And I had been watching Mav for a while at this point over on Fun Speculations channel when he was just starting out. I had been in his chat. I had gotten to know him a little bit. And we were talking back and forth or whatever else. I don't even know if we had gamed at that point. I don't remember. But anyways, he nominated me. PTK hit me up in the DMs and said, you want to come on the Shop podcast? I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay. Like I looked up his history. I'm like, man, you've been doing this for like 4 years. I'm like, you want an amateur on your show? I'm like, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. He's like, man, that don't matter. Come on. He's like, I don't care about that stuff. Come on. You want to come on and talk video games? Come on. So I went on the Shop podcast, and that was my first real show, kind of, structured, topics, all that kind of stuff. And I had such a great time with the whole crew over there with Centurion and Fuzzy, and Staggerilla was on at the time as well. And PTK, we just had a great time. And it flowed so naturally. PTK hit me up right after the show. He said, look, I was talking to my wife and she listened to the show, and she goes, and I think you'd be a great addition. He goes, would you have any interest in doing this full time every Saturday? I'm like, I was on your show one time. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, you just fit into the show. Would you like to do it? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do it. I had such a great time. I was like, yes, I'd love to do it. That's where it started, man. Dan the Man Cunningham, shout out to him, great member of this community. Him and I got to know each other in chats all the time. He told Boom that Boom should have me on. In the meantime, I started going on with Fun Speculation, and I've been on there. Fun was talking about adding me to the group when PTK had asked me to be on full time. So Mav was kind of down because him and Caitlin were just about to ask me to join their crew over in Xbox Ultimate. And then so he came and hit me up and he's like, "Oh man, I know you just took that deal with PTK." He's like, "Do you want?" He's like, "I was going to ask you to be on Xbox Ultimate on Friday nights," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm into this. Let's go." I'm like, "I'll do Xbox Ultimate too." He's like, "You will?" And I'm like, "Yes, let's do it." So I joined Xbox Ultimate.
See, this is why this title is called Mr. Podcast, because he's just constantly just on one podcast after another. I mean, bro, you could listen to this segment right here and just get confused and be like, I don't even know what he's talking about.
No, it is crazy. That's how it worked though, because like I wasn't that guy I wasn't that guy, and there's nothing wrong with people, going out there and saying, "Hey, I want to be on podcast. Will you have me on your show?" Blah, 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 blah. There's different ways to go about this. I just had never had any intention to do this. Every single show on that I've ever been on, I've been invited on. I have never asked to be on a show. It just kind of the domino effect happened. The next thing I knew, I did Boom Show a couple times. Next thing I know, I got him going, "Hey, I don't know if you got time, but do you want to add another show?" He's like, "I'd love to have you on Xbox Factor podcast." I was like, "Sure, I can work around work schedule. I can work, I can start late one day a week. So let's do Xbox Factor podcast." That's how it just rolled. Right. And then again, meeting all these amazing people, all my extended families is what I call my podcast, meeting these members of this community that are like me, that have this passion about this. It just grew from there. I met so many people like Mav's show, and then gaming with everybody. Like, again, I'm a lone wolf, but I started gaming more with people, gaming with Mav after Xbox Ultimate and Caitlin and the whole crew over there, 3-Bit, everybody, Lady, Assassin Lupa, started gaming with all those Psychonauts, and then more people joined in. And that's how I met Steel. Steel jumped in and started playing Halo Master Chief Collection with us. I met Steel through that. Steel and I just had this thing, like I didn't know him from Adam, but every time he popped in, we just had a good time going back and forth and playing Halo. And then I started thinking to myself, I love this so much. I actually want to do my own show. And I'm like, who am I going to have? And I always had this thought that I wanted a 2-man show. I didn't want a big panel. I wanted a 2-man show to have that interaction. And the first name that popped was Steel. And I hit Steel up in the DMs. And he was like, "Yo, yeah, let's do this." And that's how we started Living Split Screen. Yeah, he is absolutely just awesome. And it's all just worked out like that. Like I said, it was just a big domino effect. And it was crazy. Like, as crazy as it sounds as me talking about it, like I could probably break down better time frame wise if I wrote it down. But just off the top of my head, that's kind of how crazy this thing was. It was kind of a whirlwind deal where I went from doing no podcasting to doing like 3-4 shows, like within a matter of a couple months. Right? That's insane. Literally how it went. Yeah. And then, like I said, then I started getting guest appearances. People started asking me nonstop, and it just kind of snowballed from there. That's what it was.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty inspirational for anybody, especially anybody that's watching, that's thinking about, getting a little bit more serious with something that they love, whether it's gaming or anything else. Like, anything. Just dive into it head first and see where it goes. I mean, that's where I'm currently at. That's where Pong is right now. He's just kind of going and just seeing all where it goes, and having fun while doing it. And that's probably the most important part, is keeping it fun, keeping it fresh for yourself. Because if you're not having fun doing it, everyone else that's watching and checking you out is going to see it, and they're going to know, well, this dude isn't in it 100%. He ain't feeling it, so I ain't feeling him. I'm out. Right. So anyways, moving on to the next thing, I'm kind of curious, since you have such a history with all these different consoles going all the way back to, like Atari and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Let me know, like, the darling console for you. Like
the one that question. Yeah, okay. This is the easiest. This is the easiest. It's Dreamcast. It always will be. It always will be Dreamcast for me. It never will change. Like Series X is, I can already tell, is going to be right there with Dreamcast. But it's the time of my life. I was, in my early, I was probably in my early 20s. So it was that time. I was living in a bachelor pad with a group of guys. Some of them gamed, some of them were casual gamers, some of them were more like me. But we always went to launch nights. We did all that kind of stuff together. We had massive parties like with that still centered around gaming, right? And it was crazy like that. But Dreamcast, when Dreamcast launched 99.99, I still have my T-shirt from launch night. That was like the best thing in the world. We had taken a couple of days off of work. We literally gamed for nearly 40 hours straight on the Dreamcast. I wound up having to take our first Dreamcast back to get it replaced because the disk drive stopped working. But that system and the games that came out, it was so ahead of its time. We had dial-up back then. And to be able to pop in NFL 2K or NBA 2K and play somebody in New York was absolutely insane, man. Right. So I'm in Minnesota.
You could even use a web browser.
Right. We could use a web browser. You had the discs that came with it, whatever else. Just an insane period of time for me. And Dreamcast, like I said, the games, the diversity of games, the creativeness of the games, how many different things were being tried at that time in gaming just really blew me away. And like I said, I have those fantastic memories of playing with my kiddo on like Xbox 360 and stuff. But then this whole nother set of memories when I was in my 20s with this group of friends and playing Dreamcast, playing PS2 nonstop for hours on end, doing all sorts of craziness. Those are some of the best memories. But yeah, Dreamcast, man, I love Sega.
Dreamcast had fantastic audio and picture. They were like, I believe they were the first console that had 480p. So and that doesn't sound good right now. I mean, that sounds like a horrible YouTube video right now. But like back in the day, like playing like a Sonic Adventure, like it was just insane. NFL 2K, as you were saying.
2K and NBA. I mean,
2K is still to me the GOAT football.
Oh yeah,
the GOAT football series is 2K series for football.
The best run blocking AI in the history of football gaming comes from 2K, and Madden still has yet to match it in any way, shape, or form.
They can't do the corner catches either well.
Nope. 2K was so ahead. The cutscenes to the audience, to the crowd.
Oh yeah,
bro, they were so far ahead of their time, man. Just incredible.
Like end of game sports center that you could watch before you simulate
the highlights.
The next week. Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know on the PlayStation version, the PlayStation 2 version, it was just stills. Like still photos and whatnot. But on the Xbox version, you got the whole play. You got to see the whole play from beginning to end, and Berman would be talking throughout the play. And it, like if you have the opportunity, because you can only play it on Xbox or a PlayStation 2. I mean, unless you get a PC and emulate it or whatnot. But man, I mean, it's still, if you look at Madden now and look at that game now, and like, it's just like, man, how is Madden getting away with this?
Correct. It doesn't make any. I mean, they get away with it because they're the only game in town. Yeah, that's why. That's the only reason why. Back then, they had competition, and 2K brought it to another level, and that's why they made that exclusive deal with the NFL to get rid of 2K, because they knew they couldn't beat them. 2K was everything. Still is. It's still so incredible. But we see it with 2K now. We see it on the NBA side with 2K as well, right? They don't have any competition, so they don't push themselves anymore. Hence why NBA 2K has the issues that it has now. They've fallen into that same trap as EA did. So it's crazy though. But yeah, Dreamcast, again, the diversity of games, the things they were trying, how far ahead of the curve they were with everything they implemented, the VMUs, all that kind of stuff. Just a special time in gaming. I had so much fun with the Dreamcast. As short a lifespan as it was for that console, just gave me some of the greatest memories in the world. Like you said, so many good games. I mean, we were talking about Shenmue, right? So Shenmue changed my perception of gaming in a lot of ways forever. When Shenmue came out, people don't realize
game, man.
Yeah, and they don't realize that. Again, people look at it now and go, are you kidding me? yeah, no, you wouldn't understand if you weren't back then. Like that was groundbreaking stuff. Like to have a game that was that immersive. Being able to walk up to arcades, play arcades, walk up to collectible machines and get the little capsules out of collectible machines, having certain time frames where you had to be somewhere to answer a phone call. Like you said, write down phone numbers, remember your phone book, all that kind of that stuff was way ahead of its time. That was doing things that nobody else was doing or even close to, especially on consoles.
And
so
you could talk to anybody on the street too.
yeah, you could talk to anybody.
Little kids will ask you to come play, and
yes,
like it's
yes,
it's pretty wild the kind of stuff that you can do in that game, and like the cutscenes let you know how deep the story really is. I mean, damn, before you even play the game, there's like a 10-minute cutscene, and it will like. I was in a bad situation where my disc was scratched, and after the first cutscene, it would freeze. So I'd go get it like resurfaced, put it back in, and then I have to wait through the entire cutscene again.
That's awesome.
To see if it worked. And then eventually I got tired of resurfacing it, and I just went and bought a second copy. I just bought a second copy. It's an expensive game now. Like this retro stuff is. I mean, as you were talking about before, a lot of people are getting into this gaming stuff now more than ever. And that also includes like retro and things that people are introducing themselves to the first time ever. So I'm kind of curious for you real quick. With all of these people like making like, content and coming together to make these new like shows and whatnot, what do you think like what do you think will actually like slow it down? Do you think there is a slowdown at this point for any of this? And I know this isn't a question that was on the list that I sent you, but I was kind of curious about that because I never really got to ask anybody that. Do you think there will be a slowdown in this like trend that feels like it's getting stronger and stronger as time goes on?
As long as innovation keeps happening, no. Because what you're seeing now, and you're going to see more of it, is the merging of all of entertainment together. Okay. So if they can continue to innovate and the technology continues to push forward, along with accessibility, I don't see this slowing down at all. Not anytime in my lifetime, I don't see it happening. Right now, something major could happen in the world, a catastrophe could happen, something crazy like that would certainly, again, this is a hobby, this is not something that's necessary. So if we get to that point where necessities, like we don't have time for hobbies, then of course it's going to die off. But if we continue down this road and the world stays the way it is, hopefully getting better even than what it is right now, gaming is going to continue to grow because now as more people jump into this space, right, and they get their hands on with interacting with entertainment, and you got people like Kojima who are going to try to blur the lines, right, more and more. That's why, again, if you don't like Kojima, if you don't like his games, get it. That's fine. But you got to respect the guy, right? He has this mind. He's always wanted to be a filmmaker. A lot of people know that, but at the same time, he's good at doing games, but he's going to try to blur those lines. So as entertainment blurs and we get interactive, the more people that figure that out, the more people switch from doing kind of the static entertainment, which is just, sitting down, Netflix, whatever else, going to the movies, binge watching. More and more people start switching that off and say, I'd rather interact with my entertainment. I'd rather be in control of the entertainment. I'd rather kind of experience the story as I progress with my character or whatever the case may be. That's what's growing and feeding this whole industry right now, is more and more people jumping into that. And again, accessibility is the other part of it.
Jobs. Yeah, and there's jobs using it to train people to get better, and professionals, I mean militaries are using it to, like you seen that whole I think the deal got canceled, but that whole like augmented reality thing that the United States military got from or tried to acquire with Microsoft or whatnot. I believe it fell through, but
it did.
But I mean, that's how deep this stuff goes. Like,
Yeah,
drones
drones use Xbox controllers, right? So
insane.
Yeah, it really is, and they recruit video gamers for some of their, especially their drone programs. As awful as one side of the drone program is, they recruit video gamers because their hand-to-eye coordination is so natural to transition to controlling a drone, right? So yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's kind of spread beyond. Look, I always say this: the original point of video games was a toy for kids. Okay, it really was. Some adults really liked it, but most adults went, why would I sit down and play this right on my TV? This is stupid. My parents could not handle a controller. They do the whole moving thing, right? That wasn't natural. But now, as the generations have gone by, as we have all grown up with video games, and we continue to play video games, and we teach our kids to play video games, now kids are born with this technology in their hands, not just controllers, but phones, just tablets, all that kind of stuff. It's natural to them. You ever watch a young kid nowadays? I'm sure with your daughter, you've seen it. If you've handed her a tablet, kids figure out technology extremely quick now. Scary quick, right? Scary quick. You don't have to show them anything. They just got to push, and then they realize what they're doing, and it clicks in their head. And next thing you know, they're doing it on their own without any help, and they're getting different play. It's really scary, actually. Yeah. But that's kind of where gaming is going. Like I said, if innovation keeps happening, if accessibility keeps opening up so that more and more people can hop into gaming, even if it's a simple mobile game like Candy Crush, right? 273 million people each month log into Candy Crush at least once. 273 million people worldwide. As long as that accessibility keeps growing, innovation keeps happening, they keep bringing new experiences. We saw the phenomenon that the Wii was, right? They can recreate that phenomenon where more and more people even get into this space because it's easier, whether that's through VR, AR, whatever the future holds for us in this space. As long as they keep doing that, yeah, I don't see it ever ending. I see it actually expanding more and more and blending with other forms of entertainment. We see Netflix jumping into it. We see, movies, TVs going back to the video game space to grab stories and to make hit shows off of, like The Witcher. And we see video games starting to borrow from TVs and movies with the actors, with the writing talent, with the producers, all coming into video games. That's that blend. And we're going to see that consolidation. People hate that word. We are going to see consolidation of the entire entertainment industry, not just video games. But that's going to strengthen this movement even more in the long run. So yeah, I definitely think it's going to continue.
I mean, if you look at history is constant consolidation of things. And, so it's just like dealing with it and making the best of it. And, really, making sure that you let them know if you don't like something. But when you're messing around with millions and billions of dollars, you're not going to tell Jerry Jones what to do with his Cowboys.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So all these people that get mad on the internet about what Microsoft should do, there is a lane that you should be in when it comes to like how this is going to affect me personally, like the Xbox Gold thing.
Yep.
Like that affected everybody's pockets.
Right.
Personal pockets. So everyone had, leeway to speak their mind on that. But when you're talking about an acquisition to where Xbox is like looking and saying, we need that because we've never had that. We need that, and we need this kind of support. We're not finna walk up to, Phil Spencer and be like, you know what, man? I don't like the direction that you're taking this. He'll be like, get your ass out of here, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. I will say, Phil, out of all the people, Phil would be most receptive, and he would politely nod and probably smile and say, oh, I totally understand where you're coming from. But then inside, he'd be like, yeah, no, that's not.
Yeah, right. Facts. All right. So, I know, like, on the last main question of the show, I asked you, like, what the most beloved console was. I'm kind of curious if that has anything to do with your most memorable moment within gaming.
Oh man, see, that is a tough one. Most memorable moment in gaming. Again, yes, I'm going to go back to my own childhood memories with my my grandpa who passed away when I was young, when I was about 8 years old, 7 years old. Those are some I have. I have actually a lot more memories of him than I probably should, but I have that's one of my special memories is sitting down and playing Pong, playing Atari with him through those years, right? That's one of my favorites. And then my second, 1A and 1B is my own raising my oldest, my son, and all the times that we had together, um, playing all these games and just laughing together. Even like I was telling you behind the scenes when we were talking about kids or whatever else, even the bad times when he wound up erasing a bunch of saves off the Xbox 360. We're talking hundreds of hours. It was a frustrating day to say the least when I came home from work and realized what had happened, and we had a nice long chat about that, right? But even looking back at those times now, I can smile and just say, hey, that's part of having kids, that's part of that experience. But seeing the joy on his face, like I said, as he learned how to play certain games, as he got good, as they say, at Call of Duty, right? Because I'm not one. Again, everybody's got to parent their kids how they parent them. I didn't let him be online with the headset, but I let him play Call of Duty pretty early on, right? Because he knew the difference between reality and fiction, right? So I taught him that very early. So I was comfortable with doing that. Everybody's got to judge that for their own kids. I'm not here to do any of that, but I let him do that. And as I saw him get good, and then one day I walked in the house from work, and he had gotten home from school. He's like, he ran out to me, and he must have been, I don't know, 10, 11, somewhere in that neighborhood. He ran out. He's like, Dad, come see. And I walked to the room, and he showed me that he had gone like 32 and 6. And I was like, what? I'm like, let me see this again. So then he started showing me, and it had clicked, right? And all of a sudden he had gotten good at Call of Duty, right? And just to see his face light up and how proud he was. And then he was, outscoring me from that point on, right? And I was like, you got to be kidding me right now. I can't believe this. Those moments, are just something that will never die. So I got to say, those are my greatest gaming moments for sure. My own childhood memories. Moments. Yeah, my own childhood memories, like I said, are just deeply special because my grandpa passed when I was so young, and those are some of my earliest memories. And then my own, raising my own son, and seeing those moments happen with him, just special. It can't be replaced ever. They'll go to grave with me.
All right. Now let's transition this to a fun question I like to do each episode, or a fun game, more or less. It's without overthinking. I want you to tell me the first game that you think of when I say the name of the developer or publisher.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm gonna start off fairly simple, and then it's gonna start to get a little.
Oh, great. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. So to start off, let's go with Naughty Dog.
Last of Us.
Okay. The very next one will be Capcom.
Capcom? Oh, Power Stone.
Good. Bandai Namco.
Scarlet Nexus.
Dope. Love that freaking game. Man, I played the hell out of that game. Beat it twice. Had to. I'm in my third run, but just chilling now.
Yeah, I got to get back to it. I love that game. I got to get back to it.
It's so good. It's yeah, so good. Absolutely. Next one's going to be Bungie. This shouldn't be too hard.
Halo.
All right. Activision.
River Raid.
All right.
Atari 2600 for all you young folks out there.
Let's go with Midway.
Oh boy, throwing me NBA Jam.
Okay.
That was a little bit of curveball there.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting Midway. Wow. Okay.
Square Soft.
Square Soft. Secret of Mana.
All right. Sega.
Sonic.
Nintendo.
There's a billion other ones, but Sonic, I have to. Nintendo, Mario.
Acclaim.
Oh, bro. You really? That's like a change up. Acclaim? Yo, I don't even know if I can give you one. Hold on. I know there's probably some obvious ones, but I'm just trying to think. Like I could see the Acclaim, but I can't see. Oh my god. Oh, I'm gonna have to phone a friend on that one. Give me a game from Acclaim.
Space Jam.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, I really off of Acclaim's name, I can't. I mean, I probably played a million of the games, but I can't think of one.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a couple more. The next one that I'm going to go with is Hal.
What?
Hal. Hal.
You mean from like space? Hal.
Super Smash Brothers is one of them.
Okay.
Remember the dog sitting?
Yeah, but see, Nintendo. I'll do Nintendo. See, you got me.
Fair enough. Yep. All right.
Oh, Steel came in with Revolt. Good answer.
Oh, good. Yeah, I know he messes with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last one. How do I want to end it? I kind of want to do something fun. Let's say Bethesda, Bethesda. Let's end it on that.
Elder Scrolls. That's easy.
All right. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. Let's move on. Because I'm starting to like. I need to refresh myself for the next episode on some of them, so I don't reuse the same ones over and over.
Right.
But yeah, that was that's interesting.
You threw some screwballs, man. Like seriously, you're making me like want to look up Acclaim games just to see like if they're like what I missed that was obvious, right? That's like crazy.
Well, they also did like Quarterback Club.
See, that was
and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, that would have been in my wheelhouse, but I just could not. I could see their logo. Games. Yeah, they did a lot of sports games. I could see the logo, but I couldn't think of exactly what they did.
I have a bonus one that I think you'll be able to nail really fast. 989 Sports.
989 Sports? Oh, obviously NFL, of course. I mean, come on
Game Day and Game Breaker.
Of course.
Back in the day, those were the games.
Game Day was the deal. Game Day 99. Loved Game Day 99.
Big time. All right, so moving to the next one. I got to know what genre of types of games does Pong Soul refuse to play?
Well, as I've gotten older, platformers. Although I played games like Psychonauts, right? I will do that, but platformers I don't enjoy anymore. And Souls games.
Souls games?
Yeah, Souls games. Look, I love everything from software as far as aesthetically speaking, character models, enemy designs, color palettes, everything about it I love. I love watching people. I will watch people play on YouTube, right? Souls games. Absolutely love it. I tried my hardest. I played Demon Souls back in the day on PS3. That's where I really found out that I wasn't enjoying myself, but I tried again. I've tried Dark Souls. I tried Bloodborne. I tried. And every single time I said, why am I doing this to myself? And so those are the games, but I love them and I wish I could play them. I am going to try Elden Ring. It will be co-op. Steel will be putting me in his little backpack and carrying me around. But I'm going to try Elden Ring again. This is going to be my final shot at a Souls game. So those are my two at this point in my life that I really don't enjoy.
You know,
Playing.
if you're into multiplayer, like for Souls games, I highly recommend Remnant from the
Yes,
Ashes.
I did not mind Remnant at all. I actually played Remnant. I actually played Remnant solo for a while until I got to a boss I could not beat. But I did like Remnant from Ashes. Yes.
That was like
Yes.
that was probably my favorite type of Souls game because I love playing co-op. I get bored
Okay.
really fast, especially when a game's kind of slow in single player games. But like, I mean, obviously, I love single player games like a Ghost of Tsushima or Immortal
Yeah.
Phoenix Rising
Yep.
and stuff like that. Like things that
Sure.
constantly keep me entertained and like I'm moving, flying around, doing this, doing that. But like for games like Souls games where it's like if you die and you're going way back, it's like, oh man, I'd rather die with a homie and be like, damn, we effed up than be
Right.
like mad at myself at the end of the night, being like, ah, man, I just wasted 2 hours and have nothing. I didn't have any, I feel like I didn't have any fun because of that one death.
Right.
It
Right.
ruined my entire fun.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
so that's your kind of games. What is the best 3 games that came out this last year for you? And of those 3 games, what's that top one? What's that number one spot?
Ooh, this is hard. Again, you're asking a grazer, man. I've played so much. So we're talking about 2021. Is that what we're
Yes,
talking
sir.
about here?
Yes, sir. Let's reach back.
Oh, good God. 2021. All right. Forza Horizon 5.
Okay,
Okay.
that's one.
Absolutely love that game. There's some things that can be fixed with some of the stuff, but I love Forza Horizon 5. I think
How's
it's
co-op on
fantastic.
it? Is it working good now?
I don't do co-op at Forza. So
Okay.
Steele says Steele's a big online guy, and he says there's massive problems right now. He's kind of put it down right now because there's so many connection issues with the online stuff. So I just know from him that the experience isn't the greatest right now
Yeah,
for
it
that
was
stuff.
terrible last I
Yeah,
checked.
yeah. So that's what I got to go by. But again, for me, it's one-on-one. I just love doing the challenges and racing against the AI and stuff. So that's my jam. So Forza Horizon 5 is definitely one of them. Scarlet Nexus is another one.
Ooh,
Yep,
loving
absolutely
the answers so far.
love Scarlet Nexus. Um, for number 3, I gotta think. I know I'm missing stuff because I know there's so that like last year was not crazy, but there was so much that came out that was so good. Like there's a lot of good answers in there. And I know I'm probably forgetting a couple that I'm just gonna kill myself over, but hmm, what is
Well,
a
this is
third one?
clearly not the number one out of the 3.
No, this is not the. No, this is not. This is definitely not the number one out of the 3. No, but I'm really trying. I'm really trying to think hard. Well, because again, you're talking to somebody who plays hundreds of games, right? So it's like really hard to go. And I got a mix of old games and new games. So for me, it's always hard when it comes to these questions because I've got so many in my head at all times. I'm like, that one didn't come out last year. When did that one come out? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I would probably say I know there's one early one that I'm forgetting about right now. I know there is. It's in the back of my head. Oh boy. I know it's in there too. Right? I probably have to say Hitman 3.
Hitman 3?
Yeah. Even though I haven't played as much as I would want to of Hitman 3, but what I did play, I absolutely adored. And I
It's a
thought
beautiful game, and it's on Game
it's
Pass now for anybody
yeah,
that's checking this out that wants to check that game out. Go on ahead
yeah.
and go on there and play it. It's a lot of fun. It looks really good. The stealth and throwing people into boxes and stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't really get old.
Correct. Correct.
It
No, I
just
mean,
doesn't get
it's a
old.
sandbox. I mean, you can do anything you want to, and that's a great part about that game. But the IO Interactive is just so dang good at bringing out polished games. So I would probably have to say Hitman 3. I know I'm forgetting one or two in there that I'm gonna kick myself for, but those I'd have to go with those. And then as far as game of the year, again, I never do this stuff because I'm a grazer. So I don't finish games, right? So I rarely finish games. I would definitely say that Forza Horizon 5 for me, it was right there. Scarlet Nexus is absolutely fantastic, but out of those three, I would have to go Forza Horizon 5. I had so much fun with it.
The only thing I wish that was a little different on Scarlet Nexus is like I wish they would have took like another however long it would have taken to like make the scenes dynamic instead of static, like the cutscenes. Because for people that aren't as into it, because I thought it was fantastic, and yes, of course, everybody wants a dynamic cutscene, but a lot of people's complaints are they don't want to sit there and watch those static cutscenes, and that it's a turnoff. And then a few, levels later, they're like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Correct. And I think that's the way most people, that's going to be the biggest complaint. Again, when you get that Eastern direction, it can be a turnoff for some people. For me, I love it, but I understand why people don't, right? I get the fact, like the people who don't enjoy turn-based games, right? I understand why you don't like the turn-based games. I'm not one of those people that goes, you guys should just play them and like them, right? But for me, I enjoy all of it. I enjoy however they're going to present it. I take it for what it is. Are there games where I've been like Metal Gear Solid 5, right? Okay. For me, again, if I wanted to watch a movie, Kojima, just make a movie cut of it and give me that option to play that, but take 60% of these cutscenes out, please. So I can play the game.
An hour and a half movie in a video game?
No, man. No, that's not why I sit down. Again, I can go for a while. I can watch big cutscenes. There's been plenty of games that have had those, but man, like there's a point where I'm like, no, this ain't it. And you know what? I cheated. And I just looked at a list of 2021, and I knew there was a game that I forgot early on in the year. I knew it was on the tip of my tongue, and I could not remember. Biomutant. Biomutant is absolutely fantastic. It didn't get the press and the reviews, and a lot of people could not get past the first hour or two where it was slow, where the tutorial was kind of, especially before they patched it, it was kind of a slog for a lot of people. But Biomutant is a fantastic game that more people should try.
Oh, and, fantastic. Yes. I beat that game. Loved that game, especially when you're walking around with the mech. I thought the mech was super cool.
All of it, the graphics, all of it. I just really, really love the characters in that game. Love the style. The art direction was gorgeous. Color palette was just off the chart. I loved everything about that game. So Biomutant would have been my third had I remembered it. But yeah, I knew there was one early one in there that I was forgetting.
That's how it goes, man. I mean, and who knows, the next time, like if somebody else asks you this question, I say this to people that come on this episode. Like if somebody asked me this question 3 different times, I'd probably have 3 different answers.
Yeah, it could switch. The way it is. You're right.
But what's your favorite studio? Because we just got done like having that little game. What's your favorite kind of like studio that that kind of keeps you pretty happy for the most part? And what's the best game that represents them?
Bethesda.
Okay.
I mean, again, I could give you a list, but Bethesda off the chart. I'm a huge God Howard fan. Look, the guy creates some of the best experiences that I've ever had in gaming. I've gone back. I put another 100+ hours into the Skyrim Anniversary Edition after not playing it after the 360. I stayed away from rebuying it because, again, I like to try new experiences. But that Skyrim and Oblivion to me are the pinnacles of Western RPGs. Okay, the sense of exploration. The idea of just picking a point on the map and getting there without any thought to the main quest line and having the most random things happen to you. They do it better than anybody else. And yes, the bugs included. Don't care, never have cared. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I think the bugs add to the flavor of the games.
The flavor.
They do. I really do. I really do. But the scope of what Bethesda and Todd and his A team try to do is so beyond that they've pushed games further and further, right? And I think that people forget because they're not pumping out games on a regular basis. People forget. And like I said, when I would jump back into Skyrim Anniversary, and I've talked about this on other shows, when I jumped back into Skyrim Anniversary Edition, because it had been so long, because I had not played it since I first played it on the 360 and put, 400 hours into it. Jumping back into it again, I fell in love all over again. It was like playing for, even though I knew a lot of it, it was like playing for the first time again. And the sense of wonder was not lessened at all. Even though I had put that much time into it previously. That's not something you get from a lot of studios. But Todd and his A team are off the charts at what they do. He is one of the most creative minds out there in the video game industry. And it's going to be a sad day when he decides to retire. That's for dang sure, because guy just does it like no other. So I definitely Bethesda for sure.
So now I'm going to kind of tailor this question for Bethesda specifically for you. The next one I'm asking you is, what are 2 games that you would revive from Bethesda?
Revive? Like
full on,
can I
2023 kind of looking game, future.
Well, I'd bring back Morrowind for sure. So I would remake Morrowind from the ground up and give that new life, because Morrowind deserves it. Like I went back when the backwards compatibility hit and started playing Morrowind again. And like people that have not had the history with the Elder Scrolls would probably look at that and be like, there is no way I can play this game. Right. And I would love people to experience that story, because I think Morrowind has one of the best underlying main stories out of all the Elder Scrolls. And I think a lot of people would have a chance. Like, I've seen the mods that the PC guys have done and brought that thing as close to up to date as possible. And it's gorgeous. It's like a totally different game. Like it's one of the things that I wish I was a PC gamer for, would be to be able to go play that game with the mods and experience it. So I would love to see that remade, brought up to spec in the brand new creation engine, current gen only, series consoles only. Morrowind, bring it back out. I would absolutely love to see that.
And then number 2.
Number 2, I mean, my easy answer is Oblivion, the same thing, because I loved Oblivion. Let's go outside of that a little bit.
Okay.
Trying to think.
Let me open the floodgate and say,
here's
what's a game that you would take now from whenever?
Whenever? Well,
from whenever and wherever.
My 2 most requested games are already being done, and they just got announced, right? So Splinter Cell and Knights of the Old Republic. Both of those franchises needed to be brought back, and both of them are getting redone. Well, Knights of the Old Republic is going to be a remake from the ground up. We'll see how they do with it. They're going to change the battle system, which I'm not happy about, but we'll see. Again, I'll wait, and I'll judge it when it comes out. But Splinter Cell, skipping an entire generation, was an absolute disgrace from Ubisoft, keeping Sam Fisher out of the limelight besides mobile games and that kind of stuff. What a waste. But the announcement, the initial announcement, the interview with the devs that are working on it is the most perfect. What they are saying right now, you could not say any better. You could not ask fans what they wanted and get a better answer than what the devs said in their interview after they announced that. So those 2 were the tops of my list of games that I want to see and franchises I want to see come back. So right there, that's the easy answer.
So that's what's up, my man. Yeah. All right. So here's kind of a serious question.
Shoot.
Answer this however you want about any aspect of it that you want. But what about gaming frustrates you?
Oh, okay. I guess, look, how do I want to say this? There's a lot of positives that come with popularity. Okay. There's a lot of positives that come out of the industry growing. With those positives, there's also a lot of negatives. The more people that get involved in an industry, the more negativity, the more bad apples that you invite in. Okay. It's like having a house party. I always use this analogy. It's like having a house party. You invite 10 close friends, you know what kind of time you're going to have, right? You invite those 10 close friends and then tell them to invite 5 of their close friends, and that extends out. Next thing you know, you got a party of 300-400 people. The chances of having bad actors in that group at your house party goes significantly up. Yeah. Chances are you're going to have some people that aren't there for the right reasons, right? So I love that video gaming has gone mainstream. Again, my history goes back to the days where we were bullied over video games, where video games were considered a child's toy, and that nobody over the age of 10 should be playing video games, right? I go back to those days of being, picked on in grade school for still playing video games, right? So I go all the way back to that. And so I love that the industry has exploded. I love that we are now mainstream culture. I love that it's okay to discuss openly that you love playing video games as a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old person. And I love that what that has done for us. But it also has brought in a lot of bad apples, a lot of negativity. We see it in this community. We see the console war BS. We see the clown show that shows up that I talk about, and Steele and I talk about on a weekly basis on a living split screen. We see the same people that used to be like the jocks in high school that would bully you for not being in sports, right? Or the cool kids who would bully you for being too smart or whatever the case. Those same people have now jumped in and are now video game players. Fantastic, but they bring that same energy in. They want to gatekeep, and they want to bring people's hype down, and they want to play this console war narrative, this BS. And I know they always like to play it off as it's just jokes. It's not just jokes. A lot of the time, it might be for some of your little cliques and your little groups, but that's not the energy you put out there into this industry. So I think that for me is the most frustrating part, is that even though we've grown to this point, we still have this whole subset of people now that bring in this, again, bad energy, this
unnecessary animosity.
This again, like Steele says, and you wonder why there's still people, even though video games are now the biggest entertainment industry in the world, money standpoint wise, right? They now sit at the head of the table. These other industries are looking at the video game industry and going, boy, you guys are real players. We want to get in on this action, right? Even though we have this, even though we've gone mainstream, right? We still have a lot of society that side eyes us. Why? Because there's people like we see in this community, and we're small, right? We're a small little bubble in the grand scheme of things. Like, casual people don't know anything about us in this community, right? They don't even know this exists here. 2-3 billion people playing video games out there in the world, if you count mobile and everything else. They don't know we exist. But at the end of the day, there's still people that try to jump in this community, and the first thing they see is a bunch of console warring BS. They don't see the welcome part of the community. They don't see the open arms, the passionate part of the community that loves just gaming in general. They don't see that. They wind up seeing the clown show, right? The circus shows up. And again,
it's just a Wild West, though. That's the thing, though. Like, it's not like organized yet to where people can like it'd be really nice, and it'd be hard to do at the same time, but it'd be nice to have groups where what you're kind of getting into, and what kind of like Twitter you want to get into, and you can see some serious and actually be able to take some actual pieces serious. But let's get real. This is the internet. That's not really probably gonna ever
like the old 360 days where you could select like underground, right? Or whatever the case may be. They would match you up with players that were a part of that group, right? Or would try to, supposedly, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. But it doesn't work that way, like you said. And that's
snakes in the grass, man. I mean, they're always going to, oh yeah, I'm a perfectly good person. And then once they get in there, they're just lighting it up.
Right. And that's that. Yeah, exactly. No, so I guess that's my biggest frustration, because I think that, again, video games is a hobby. It's entertainment. And I understand that we see this kind of tribalism in sports, right? We see this everywhere in life, right? But I really wish that video games and people would realize that that just doesn't fit the whole video game narrative. Like, that's not what it's even back in the day when it was Nintendo versus Sega and all that kind of stuff. And the companies would take shots at each other. And my buddy would be a Nintendo head and I had the Sega. And certainly there was times where I'd make fun of him or whatever else for not having a Sega, and he'd make fun of me for not having Nintendo. But then we'd be swapping consoles, right? And we'd be borrowing each other's consoles and going playing and have a great time. And I always loved to go to his house to play, Nintendo stuff. And he always loved coming to my house to play Sega stuff, right? It was still that good nature. And now that we got into this age, like in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, like that good naturedness, that fun times between friends, that turns into something completely different when you're on social media with a bunch of strangers and you think it's cool to be the class clown again, or you want to be the gatekeeper and say, well, we're going to make rules about who can have a voice in this community and who can't. That's when I'm like, yeah, no, you're the people I don't want to associate with, right? You're the people that still give us that bad rep with certain other parts of society when they think about video gaming, right? That stuff's got to go away or be, put in a corner, like I always say, and let them be the children that they are. Because for like I said, video games are growing up, and I think that a lot of the people in this community and video gamers in general need to grow up too along with it, and really understand that this is a hobby. This is something for fun. This is something entertainment. That there really is no war going on. That's not what this is about. That we should all just celebrate this being the golden age of gaming. Like I always say, that there has been no better time in history to be a gamer than right now, no matter where you game, no matter what you enjoy playing. There is something for everybody out there. And that's not the way it's always been. Now. Yeah, it's crazy right now. So, yeah.
And I mean, it's so crazy that you see Sony trying to be accessible on other platforms, and that's unheard of. Because if you think about it, back in at the beginning of the PlayStation 2 days, Sony was trying to be its own computer. It was trying to, you're on my console and that's it.
Yep.
That's it. You don't go nowhere else. Now it's, oh, well, I see where the money's going, bruh. I guess we gonna have to hop on this train.
Right.
and that's a big deal to have somebody like Sony saying, we're gonna have to bend the knee on this one, boys.
Agreed.
But we're at the last few questions. I want to get you out of here because I'm sure you got some stuff going on in the near future. But let's turn this question the opposite direction. What's a dream come true for you in gaming?
The accessibility, man. Game Pass, being number one. Again, being a kid, going all the way back when I would get, I wasn't a rich kid at all. We were middle class. So, maybe 2-3 games per year. Maybe when GameStop started coming, or FuncoLand back in the day started coming around, you get a used game here or there a little bit more. But looking forward to that new game, that 1, 2, maybe 3 games, birthday, Christmas, etc. Walking into Toys R Us, the wall of cards, and picking out your game from there. If I could go back in time and tell myself as a kid that, hey, when you get older, there's going to be this crazy service. It's going to be online. You don't know what internet is, and you don't know what online is yet, right? You don't have any idea, but there's going to be this crazy thing where you turn on your console, your Atari, which is not Atari anymore, but you turn on your Atari and you've got 400 games waiting for you. And you only have to have your parents pay $10 a month. And I know this always winds up sounding like an advertisement, but it really does puts it in perspective that you're going to have access to all those games. You can play them as much as you want to. Yeah, some of them go away after a time frame, but you get to play them all as much as you want to. Your parents only have to pay $10 a month. My kid self would never in a million years have believed it. Never in a million years. That would have been something out of Star Trek back then, right? That would have been something crazy to even think about. So for me, like I said, the history of everything, getting to this point now where I get to pay a monthly fee and have access to all these games, and I can take my phone, and pop my Razor Kishi on and go upstairs into my bedroom and continue playing my game right where I was is simply just absolutely amazing, man. It is so awesome to be at this point, and it's only getting better, right? So yeah, for me, it's the accessibility. The value of gaming has just gone through the roof. Yes, it's still an ultra expensive hobby, but you don't have to work a second job anymore to make sure that you're playing a lot of the games that come out. Yeah, now there's a lot more games coming out as well. So me as a budget gamer, I still can't buy everything, but I have the option like a Game Pass that helps me with that. And I can just play until my heart's content. Some days I don't even know what I want to play because there's so many titles.
Well, you know, it alleviates half of the issue, and half of the issue was money. The other half of the issue was time.
Yep.
You know, so like now it's just when do I have time to play this compared to, all right, I gotta throw another $60-$70 and then find time for it. So it makes you question it less because you're just like, only paying $15 this month and I'll find time for it. Whatever. Just take it out of my account regularly, monthly, whatever.
Right.
It is what it is.
Exactly.
But getting on to one of these last questions, I want to know what you kind of enjoy doing outside of gaming when you're not doing all of your 12 different podcasts.
Oh boy. Well, that's changed since the pandemic. So, which is going to change back again, but I am a health nut. I was big into working out prior to the pandemic. Obviously got me out of that habit, which I hate. I want to get back to it because as you get older, the harder it gets to get back into it. So that was a big thing for me. I am a big health guy. I love the gym. So that's going to be coming back around here again. Time wise, man, I'm starting to get tight. And also reading still, I don't do it as much as I used to. Used to be like half and half reading and video games. It's definitely gotten more to the 80-20 range. But I still enjoy reading. I still enjoy learning. I read fiction, but I also read a lot of spiritual stuff, a lot of different topics. I like to dive deep into different topics. And so I'll read books on all sorts of different things to learn about them, history, etc. So that's definitely, I do like outside of gaming for sure. It is definitely another hobby. So yeah.
So you're all about keeping the mind and body busy.
Yeah, for sure. I'm big on that, man. Again, I'm going to battle Father Time until the day I die, right? So, but I want to be up for that battle. I don't want to be laying on my back for that battle. So, yeah, no, I'm definitely going to fight. Definitely going to fight for that.
Okay, and then here's a random kind of weird, maybe even question. What's somebody, or what's something that nobody really knows about you that you'd be comfortable with throwing out there? Yeah, I get a lot of that after I ask the question.
Yeah, I'm sure you do because
everyone's
the
like,
mindset.
oh, snap.
I don't know because I'm pretty open. Like there's not a whole lot. I'm trying to think what I haven't. I'm trying to think. I've been open like about a lot of stuff. Like I guess I guess the big one is, and I kind of said it earlier, but I really want to be a writer. At one point, I've got partial books written all over in notebooks and places. I got ideas everywhere. I was really pursuing the writing aspect. I was going to be a fiction writer, high fantasy was my forte. And I really want to do that. I really wanted to be the next Tolkien. And I put a lot of effort into it at one point in my life. And then just let it go by the wayside. So yeah, no, I was definitely going to be a writer, and I don't think a lot of people have heard that story before. The other one, but people might have heard this when I've done other shows like this. Usually I talk about how when I got into podcasting, it brought back, I was going to college for journalism and sport broadcasting. I wanted to be on ESPN. So when I started getting into podcasting, like I didn't go to college because I stayed for a girl. And that's a whole nother story, but yeah. Hey, young, You do crazy things for
Make
love,
those
right?
decisions,
So
yes.
yeah, you make those decisions, right? And it changes your whole path, right? That's what happens, right? So we can always look back and go, what if? But at the end of the day, that isn't what it is. But yeah, when I
It
got
don't
back into
matter no more.
podcasting, yeah, no, it don't matter no more. When I got back into podcasting, it brought back all that passion why I was originally going into journalism and sports broadcasting, right? Kind of combined the two together, just not in sports, but in video games. When I started doing this and talking, I'm like, oh, this is why I wanted to go to school for this. I love this. This is a blast. I love doing this.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, so there you go.
And this is even more free
Yes.
than what, because everything you would have had to do if you worked at a business would have been super duper scripted, and you would have had to make sure you hit this point, that point, and the third. But the way you're going right now, you just get to freestyle it and just kind of let it go off the top.
Mainstream's dying and we're taking over, right? So the small podcasters are taking over, right? That's the cool part. There's kind of a transition right now happening between mainstream, old school media and what you can get on the internet now, which is kind of crazy.
A lot of people are going for raw and reality versus staged and like performed and practiced and whatnot. Right. So, and I mean, I can't lie that was a big thing not even that long ago. Remember, I mean, you go to these like Applebee's and different type of restaurants, they always got a TV of just random clips just going on for people to watch, because they know people don't really care too much about like the news and stuff like that. They just want to look up and see something cool real quick and keep it moving.
Yeah, people consume differently now than they used to, right?
Absolutely.
It's completely different. Yep.
All right, so any questions that you have for me? I like to ask. I decided to throw this question, and it's kind of a newer question, but I figured I'd ask you. Any questions that you have for me personally?
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. So, let me ask you this. I'll ask you this because I always like to know this. Did you ever see yourself doing this, or was this something that came out of the blue for you as well, doing podcasting, content creation, or did you always have a dream of doing this?
I have always had a dream of being in gaming one way or another. Awesome. I haven't always had a specific dream of like doing YouTube, because like I told you earlier, I agreed with you. I was like, who would watch any of this kind of stuff, or like, like, what's the point of watching people play video games and stuff like that? So like, I always wanted to be in the video games, but like I didn't want to go down that route. And now I'm like noticing how I get to connect with people and have a good time, and start to build my kind of community of my own, of people that I can hit up, whether I want a game or I want to make a show or want to like kick it online and just chat. Because I mean, half the time I hop into a chat room, we're all playing something different. We're just chatting it up and whatnot. So like, I mean, it's really cool to have that, and then also be like, I want to do something with it that I feel like I'm, connecting with other people across other lands and stuff like that. So this ended up being the direction that I picked, and I'm happy with this direction as well, because I'm a very people person.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, and I'm not scared to speak up and holler and ask somebody something, or but at the same time, I am more than happy to help and go out of my way and appear on somebody's show short notice and stuff like that, because like I have that passion. I can sit here and talk about gaming for a long time. I can talk myself to sleep about it. But like, I think as I got older, and this is pretty much like the tail end of the answer to your question. As I got older, I just started to lose people to talk to it about. Like, like when I was doing college and like hanging out with homies and stuff like that. Like, I don't live in my hometown anymore. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. Now I live in like Kansas City, which is only like 3 hours away. But I also moved to Denver. Also moved to Fort Worth, Texas. And throughout that time, like gaming was always with me, but the connectivity was not. So like I didn't always have enough money to be able to have internet and have Xbox Live. I'd just have like, you know, an Xbox and just play offline all the time. And it just kind of was what it was. But now that I can afford all this stuff now for myself, I can connect with people throughout the world because I can afford, like I said, this stuff. And then on top of it, I don't live anywhere where I have immediate people just to kick it with and go out and waste money with and stuff like that. So I find myself, instead of going to the bars and drinking and you know, going to the, you know, on vacations with random people, you know, I got a kid now, I got a lady. My lady, you know, likes that I'm into something that kind of keeps me at the crib and staying with the family. I was like, hell, man, I need to, you know, open up and start making friends at home instead of trying to go out, especially with COVID and everything. It's like freaking impossible to meet somebody and be like, oh, are you comfortable coming over to my house? No.
This is a gamer's dream. This is a gamer's dream right here, right? As much as everybody else hated it, we're all like, this is cool. I can sit home. That's fine. Let's do it.
There was a meme that I seen that said, oh no, COVID's back. And it showed a gamer like,
oh, no. Exactly.
It's like, oh no, I have to stay home and play video games. Darn. But my last thing, was there anything else?
Favorite video game or franchise?
Okay. My favorite franchise, just because it meant so much to me growing up and opened my eyes to how big and grand video games could be, would be Grand Theft Auto 3, so Rockstar. So nice. Rockstar, just because I played Gran Turismo 2 hard. I liked that game a lot, and just running away, throwing out oil slicks and stuff like that. And it was a bird's eye view game. So when I seen the commercial for the first time on TV for GTA 3, I was just like, I have to buy that game because I know it's not going to be at a Blockbuster. It's going to be off. It's going to be, you know, off the shelves immediately. So I just better figure out my way to buy it. And so Rockstar is my favorite just because it changed my eye to how grand a game can really be and crazy. And let's see, as for like favorite video game, I'd probably say, this is gonna sound like weird maybe, but I don't play it that much anymore, but Ark Survival Evolved.
Wow, really? My kid played a ton of that game when it was first out, man. He had a clan in Australia.
Yes, dude.
Like, he was hanging out with Australians, building dinosaurs, like having battles. He used to send me videos all the time. It's crazy.
That game opened me up to talk to so it kind of helps me to be in the position that I am. It opened me up to be okay to talk to random people on Xbox Live.
That's awesome, man.
So like I'm doing trades with people that I've never met with clan tags, and I'm also learning who not to trust.
Sure.
Who like whose base is bad, and you know and it almost felt like a story, even though that game lacks story. Right. Because it kind of gave me my own story. So so Ark Survival Evolved as my game, and Rockstar as my as like
publisher,
dev. Or dev or whatnot. Yeah.
Cool, totally. Man. That's an awesome answer. It's unique. So, and I understand why. Like, there's a deeper level to it. So that's good.
One of the coolest things about Ark was I got into it with a friend that just was like, hey man, for like $13 or $15 you can get the beta, and this was like 2016, and I got that. I played it for just a little bit. I didn't play it that long. And then the lady, I was waking up in the middle of the night finding her playing it. Okay. And I'd wake up like in the middle of the night, have to use the restroom and whatnot. It'd be like 3, 4 in the morning, and she has to work at 7 or 8. Yeah, and she'd be playing at like 4 a.m. all the way up until she had to leave and go to work.
Oh god!
And like I'd find her on that multiple times in the week, and I was like, all right, like if you're gonna be this, and like I had a problem with it at first. I was like, you can't be doing this, like. and I mean, it was a mixture of jealousy because she was getting into my game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And it was also like why are you playing this without me? Because this is a multiplayer game. So so I ended up finding myself waking up at the same time and playing with her in that game. And then we liked it so much that we told her dad that was into gaming about it. And he tried it out, loved it, and I bought it for him for Christmas. And that was the first time that I was playing with a dad. Because I mean, I mean, I'm not trying to get too personal, but like I never got to play with my dad. So that's awesome, man. Like any games ever. Yeah. So like being able to play with like a pops and then my lady at the same time is just like, man, this is a family ordeal right now, and we're running.
That's really cool, man.
It was really cool. But
that is a unique experience.
Yeah, totally. Last thing I'm going to ask you before you get the heck up out of here is I want you to describe gaming for me just by using 3 words.
Wow.
Have fun,
wow.
buddy.
3 words. 3 words to describe gaming. Okay.
Describe your love in 3 words.
3 words, right? Okay. Exploration. Accomplishment. And pure fun. Just fun.
All right.
Base level fun.
I like it, man. It was well thought out.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody. Oh, there's K Megan. What's up, brother? Thanks for stopping in and saying hello. But anyways,
what's up, brother K Mega?
You came in right at the end of the show, and yeah, it just kind of is what it is. So if you want to check it out, you're gonna have to hit the rewind button, brother. But I'm gonna go ahead and let Pong Soul up out of here. Thank you again for being on, man. It was a pleasure having you. We spent quite a bit of time chit-chatting and whatnot on here, so that was really cool. I'd like to kind of label this Pong Soul, the definitive edition. You got to find a lot. you got to find out a lot about him. Really cool guy. Yeah. But man, I hope to do some more stuff with you in the future.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be fun. More on a lighter note, definitely. Just kind of kicking back and doing something. But absolutely, yeah, that'd be fantastic. Anybody that's watching, be sure to come back on Thursday. I'm gonna have D from actually K Mega's podcast, the GRG. So yeah, I'm gonna have D on. She's gonna be really cool. But yeah, Thursday at 9:00. Definitely make sure you guys are out here to check that out. But anyways, me and Pong Soul are up out of here. You guys, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful evening. See you later.
Thank you. Love you all.